Hi, this is Trent from SDBoltReport.com. Today we're going to be addressing the question, out of all of the injury-prone Chargers, which player can the Chargers least afford to be injured in 2016? And that's a hard question to address because so many Chargers are injury-prone, and we don't yet know the final roster, obviously, with free agency just starting and the draft still on its way. Prior to free agency, I would say that the Chargers player the Chargers can least afford to lose would have been Keenan Allen. I mean, he's been injured basically each of his first 3 years. He was injured in college. He's obviously an injury-prone player, but he can be so good. And he's so useful for the offense. He has such a repertoire now with Philip Rivers that he's incredibly hard to think about losing. Last year, despite offensive line problems, despite the running game not really meeting any sort of expectations whatsoever, the Chargers still had the number one offense and the number one passing attack for the first 6 or 7 weeks of the year. And that's mostly because Keenan Allen. The two, Philip Rivers and Keenan Allen, were on a record-setting pace. Keenan Allen gets hurt, and then the offense basically falls off the tracks. Now, the signing of Travis Benjamin will definitely help that. He can stretch the field. He's proven, even with the terrible Browns and whatever quarterbacks they throw out, that he can be nearly a 1,000-yard receiver and put up some big numbers. So if Keenan Allen does get hurt last year, you still have Travis Benjamin, and you won't have someone like Javonte Herndon, playing the slot every single down. Now, because of the depth that's now there at wide receiver, I'd say probably the player the Chargers can least afford to miss next season is King Dunlap. Now, that would be different if they go out and still sign a solid backup or draft, somehow Laramie Tunsil falls to him and they still pick him up despite signing Barksdale. But without King Dunlap, the Chargers really don't have anything for the left tackle position. Chris Hairston, who was okay at times last year, but really struggled down the stretch, he's a free agent. The Chargers don't really have anyone young who can really start. And the AFC West is just loaded with outside rushers. I mean, the Raiders just signed Irving from Seattle, so now they have Mack and Irving. The Denver Broncos obviously have Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, and now the Chiefs re-signed Houston, so they still have Tamba Hali. So they still have two premier pass rushers on the outside. For the Chargers, that means that Philip Rivers is going to be under pressure a ton. They couldn't win an AFC West game last year. They barely won any of the year before. Thank you, Raiders. And the Chargers really need to protect Philip Rivers. So if King Dunlap goes down, unless they address in the draft or still are planning on signing someone, I guess they could trade for Joe Thomas, but I doubt it. King Dunlap is absolutely essential to the team next year. You could argue also that Melvin Ingram, who's been injury-prone in the past, is also really important. Chargers signed Mebane, which will help up front, but basically most of the sacks last year came from Ingram. Atauchu hopefully will continue to develop, but right now there's not a lot of depth at outside linebacker either. So those are the players I think that the Chargers can least afford to lose next season, but honestly, if they're trying to make a playoff run, they can't really afford to lose almost anyone. They don't have that much depth or that much talent.